Fox's alert now. Chinese paramilitary units reportedly gathering near the border with Hong Kong. President Trump weighing in on this. A few tweets already today. Here's one of them. I have zero doubt that if President Xi wants to quickly and humanely solve the problem in Hong Kong, he can do it. Personal meeting, question mark. Our next guest says China's acting like a bully, writing what Hong Kong's unrest tells us about China's plans for the rest of the world. Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano, Vice President, Foreign Policy, Heritage Foundation. And, sir, welcome back to America's
Good morning,
Newsroom.
James.
Hey, good to be with you.
The president is suggesting just a few moments ago that President Xi should meet one-on-one with the protesters and everything could be resolved that way peacefully. Where are you on this today?
Well, you know, I think there's a subtle but really important message in there, which is the United States is basically saying, we're going to hold you accountable to reconcile this thing, and if you go over the top, if there's a military intervention, and if you violate people's human rights, that's going to be trouble for the relationships. I think the president's message was actually pretty clear to the way the Chinese will understand what he's getting at.
What do the protests we're seeing tell us about mainland China?
Well, the number one thing it says is China breaks its promises. I mean, China agreed to a deal when sovereignty was returned from Great Britain of one country, two systems. And under Xi, they've been systematically violating that deal. And this all really started, forget about the legalities of this, but when the people of Hong Kong figured out that the senior administrator was more concerned about what Beijing wanted than what was best for the people of Hong Kong, that's when people, I think, really think that the red line had been crossed.
James, we're just looking at a lot of the analysis, and I don't know what the protesters get out of this. Dan Henninger's writing about it today in the Wall Street Journal.
Right.
He says, does Hong Kong matter? Ultimately and unhappily, the Hong Kong protesters may get not much more than admiration from the rest of the world, but we would all do well to stare hard into those faces, filling screens, and think about the implications of their all-or-nothing fight for freedom, end quote. Do you have a sense now today how this unwinds ultimately?
Well, yeah, I think, look, this demonstrates that China doesn't care about Hong Kong, and it doesn't really care about the people of Hong Kong. And it can do this now because it can get away with it, because Xi thinks he is powerful. And quite honestly, they would love to see the reputation of Hong Kong diminish. They would like to say, oh, look, it's not a safe place to do business. Go do business in Guangzhou or Shanghai, places on the mainland that we control. This shows that China doesn't care about its people, because at the end of the day, the people of Hong Kong are citizens of China. They are part of China. And this is the government basically saying, we don't care about your future. I think it's a message for the whole world. As China goes out with the Belt and Road, or here, buy some Huawei products, and on the back end they say, don't worry about us. We just want to do good in the world. We know that's a lie. This is the starkest statement we've had. They lie to the entire world, they break their promises, and they are not a force for good.
Finally, how would you like to see the United States respond?
Well, I think the U.S. has very limited capacity to influence what's actually going on in Hong Kong, other than to tell the officials that you will be held accountable if there are human rights violations, if there is a military crackdown. The world will note, and the United States will lead the way. I think that's the right message.
James Carafano, thank you.